Stay focused on the fact today. Only on ATN.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought a very family.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news. So catch fact today. Only.
This is ATN Global News at 9. First, the headlines. Assembly overrides Fubara, passes local government bill into law. Tribunal reserves judgment in Silva Diri case. Eberechi Wike nominated for appeal court's bench. President Tinubu unveils counter-terrorism summit. Dangote refinery to begin patrol sales in fourth quarter. South Africa's ANC loses battle to Jacob Zuma. Barcelona's De Jong to miss end of season. News in details. Martins Amewile-led Rivers State House of Assembly has passed the Rivers State Local Government Bill into law, overriding Governor Simonalayi Fubara's veto. The House had initially passed the local government bill and sent it to Fubara for approval on March 13, 2024, which was denied. The bill was reintroduced by the leader of the Amewile-led Assembly, Major Jack, representing Akuku Toru Constituency 1. A statement made available to newsmen said the bill was thoroughly debated by members. The Amewile-led lawmakers also screened and confirmed the nominees for the positions of chairman and members of the Assembly Service Commission. Bayelsa State Governorship Election Petition Tribunal has reserved judgment in a petition filed by the candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Timi Silva, against the declaration of Doye Diri as the governor of the state in the November 2023 election. Chairman of the tribunal, Justice Adekunle Adeleye, on Monday in Abuja announced that the judgment will be delivered within the 180 days statutorily allowed by law. The chairman said that all the parties in the petition would be communicated as soon as the judgment delivery date is fixed. It will be recalled that INEC had declared Diri winner of the gubernatorial election on the ground that he scored majority of lawful votes cast in the poll. Following the fuel scarcity in Akwa Ibom State with its attendant hardship, the state governor, Umo Eno, has convened a meeting with different groups within the petroleum marketing sector with a view to finding solutions to the immediate and remote causes of the problem. The groups include the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association, Natural Oil and Gas Suppliers Association, and the security agencies. IPMAN had ordered the suspension of operations in all the fuel outlets in the state after stakeholders meted over alleged infractions into their businesses by natural oil and gas suppliers. Members' products were reportedly impounded on the road and extorted. IPMAN Secretary Ekom Udeme Udo said 5 of its tankers with petroleum products worth millions of naira have been impounded by Nogasa, and all efforts to secure the release of the trucks have failed. Sam Osung, chairman of Nogasa, however, denied extorting money from IPMAN and impounding the trucks, adding that all tankers do not belong to IPMAN, as other major marketers do own trucks as well. However, Governor Eno, in a press release through his chief press secretary, Udo, assured that the fuel scarcity will end very soon. Niger Delta Development Commission says it needs abundant gas resources to fast-track the implementation of sustainable development projects and programs for the Niger Delta. Representative of Akwa Ibom State on the governing board of the commission, Apostle Abasi Dikan Nkono, said this during a courtesy visit to the Minister of Petroleum, Ekperikpe Ekbo, at his NNPC Towers office. The commission identified the ministry's collaboration with NDDC as one which would yield dividends for Akwa Ibom State, Niger Delta, and Nigeria. He suggested that NDDC's quest to uplift the Niger Delta above poverty and unrest. The minister said that the current NDDC dispensation has implemented various intervention programs and projects, especially in education, skill acquisition, economic empowerment, healthcare, of solar power, and other infrastructure projects. Nkono pledged that his office, under the guidance of the NDDC head office in Port Harcourt, River State, will cooperate with the ministry in areas of mutual responsibilities and tasks. Independent National Electoral Commission has announced the final list of candidates for the forthcoming Edo State governorship election. This is even as the commissioner said that the political parties are permitted to start campaign in public from Wednesday, 24th April 2024. The campaigns will end at midnight on 10th September 2024. And a statement by Sam Olumeko, National Chairman, and Information and Voter Education Committee, disclosed that 17 political parties have fielded candidates for the election, out of which 16 are male, while 1 is female. Olumeko said the final list has been published at INET's office in Edo State and also uploaded the Commission's website and social media platforms for public information. Academic Staff Union of Universities, the University of Benin branch, said on Monday that its members may not resume academic activities on April 28 due to attacks on lecturers and management staff or students of the institution. ASU leadership also noted that it is a constraint to embark on teaching and research in an environment in which lecturers are prime targets for brutalization or elimination by some students who are laboring to impact the wealth of their intellectual property following the attack on their members. The ASU position is coming on the heels of the attempted murder of Dr. Presley Osagie, a lecturer in the Department of the Economics and member of the University of Benin branch, by some members of the Executive Committee of the University of Benin Students' Union when Labour candidate Olumide Akpata came to the school on April 12 for an interactive session. A statement signed by the chairman and the secretary Uniben ASU Ray Chikogu and Success Abusoma and made available to journalists in Benin said Dr. Osenwegi was attacked, hitting the back of his head with a small axe, and left for dead in the pool of his blood by some of those in the company of the Students' Union present. Both public and private primary and secondary schools in Lagos have resumed for the 2023-2024 third term academic session today, April 22, 2024. The schools vacated for the 2023-2024 said second-term academic session on March 28, 2024. Dr. Adejide Nola of Top Deal Schools, Ikorodu, Lagos, explained that the students have resumed in high numbers. Person for the Lagos State Ministry of Education, Mr. Gani Kawal, also confirmed that all public primary and secondary schools have resumed. He promised to send a statement to the effect before the close of work today. 29-year-old man Harry Stephen, who allegedly obtained the sum of 5 million naira from a woman under the guise of procuring visa for her son, has appeared before an Ejigbo Magistrates Court, Lagos. The defendant is a standing trial on a 2-count charge of fraud and breach of the peace. The defendant pleaded guilty to the charge. The prosecutor, ASP Benedict Aigbokon, told the court that the defendant committed the offenses sometime in September 2023 and January 2024. According to him, the offenses contravene Section 168, subsection and 314 of the Criminal Law of Lagos 2015. Section 168 provides 3 months imprisonment or an option of fine, while Section 304 the case until April 26 for review of facts. Federal High Court sitting at Ikoyi, Lagos, has discharged and acquitted former Director General of the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, Patrick Akpogbolekemi, of an alleged 58 billion naira fraud brought against him by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Justice Ayokunle Faji discharged and acquitted the former NIMASA Director General while delivering a ruling on a no-case submission filed by him and 4 defendants in a 22-count charge against them. Akpogbolekemi was arraigned before the court alongside Major General Emmanuel Atewe, a former commander of the Joint Task Force Operation, Pulo Shield, and 2 other staff of the agency, Kime Ngozu and Josephine Otuaga. Discharging and acquitting Akpogbolekemi and 1 Josephine Otuaga, a staff of NIMASA, Justice Faji held that the EFCC failed to establish a prima against them. However, he ruled that a former commander of the Joint Task Force Operation Pulo Shield, Major General Emmanuel Atewe, retired, 2nd defendant, and a staff of NIMASA, Kim Egonzu, 3rd defendants, have to open their defense before they have a case to answer in counts 12 to 22 of the charge. Ekiti State Police Command has arrested the owner of A1 Pure Water situated behind 132 kVA in Omisonjana area of Ado Ekiti for operating unlawfully and producing unhealthy sachet water generated from a well. Confirming the arrest, the Public Relations Officer of the command, DSP Sunday Abutu, said the arrest was based on the reports by officials of the Ministry of Environment. It was revealed that the factory had been operating the necessary permits and licenses, rendering its operations illegal. Ekiti State Ministry of Environment had sealed up the factory, saying the water used for the production abandoned well. Speaking with journalists, the leader of the team that sealed off the factory, Samuel Adebayo, explained that such an would cause an epic, hence for urgent. Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa of Ondo State on Monday appreciated President Bola Tinubu for allowing enabling environment for the peaceful conduct of the Saturday's governorship primary in the state. Aiyedatiwa stated this in an acceptance speech after he emerged as the All Progressives Congress candidate for the November 16th governorship election in the state. Usman Ododo, the chairman of the governorship primary election committee for Ondo State and governor of Kogi, had on Monday declared Aiyedatiwa as the winner of the Saturday's primary. Ododo said that Aiyedatiwa polled 48,569 votes to defeat his closest rival, Mayowa Akinfolarin, who had 15,343 out of 95,178 valid votes. Aiyedatiwa the National and State Working Committee of the party for ensuring that the best candidate emerged as a party standard bearer. He also commended other contestants for their sportsmanship and urged them to join hands with him to ensure the party's victory in the November election. Less than 12 hours after the declaration of Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa of Ondo State as the winner of the governorship primary election, the appeal committee received 3 petitions from aggrieved aspirants who participated in the exercise. The 3 aspirants have asked the party who has reportedly hanged herself on a ceiling fan in her residence in the Magboro area of Obafemi Owodo local government area of Ogun State. Her son was said to have discovered the lifeless body of his mother upon his return from a church service, prompting him to raise the alarm. It was gathered that police authorities were swiftly informed of the tragic incident. Confirming the incident, Omolola Odutola, the state police public relations officer, said that no suicide note was found at the scene. She added that law enforcement officers from the Ibafo division were dispatched to investigate further. The PPRO disclosed further that an investigation has commenced to unravel the circumstances behind the incident. You are watching the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this break.
From the line across the ocean to the land on the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring 20 stories in politics, transport, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Welcome back. This is the Global News on Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. Yoruba self-determination movement, led by Professor Banji Akintoye and Chief Sunday Adeyemo alias Sunday Igboho, has written an open letter to President Bola Tinubu seeking a peaceful breakaway of Yoruba people from Nigeria. The open letter dated April 17, 2024 was signed by both Akintoye Igboho and one Ola Ademola. They called on the president to, within the next 2 months, set up a negotiation team to negotiate the exit of the Yoruba people from Nigeria. The letter by the Yoruba Nation arrowheads came about a week after some armed agitators invaded the Oyo State Government House, attempting to hoist their flag on the premises of the State House of Assembly. The agitators were subdued and 29 of them were last week taken before a magistrate's court in Ibadan, which ordered that they should be remanded in the prison custody. Both Akintoye and Igboho disassociated themselves from the violent action. Analysts says that one of the challenges confronting the Nigeria political structure is weak opposition. Speaking on Atlantic Television Network Politics, a socio-political advocate, K.O. Johnson, stated that the weak political oppositional structure of Nigeria stems from continuous political gag and marginalization from ruling parties.
And that's happening because the ruling party will always want to weaken the opposition. They do it in such a way that we've weaponized poverty. And because we've weaponized poverty, if you are not with the ruling party, you just know that you have 4 years to stay without contract, without money, without anything. That's how we do our politics. Governor Dave Umahi was positioning himself for national politics.
Okay.
Yes, that's what he was doing. He of course, I rate him as one of my favorite politicians, and he was being very future.
On his part, Victor Enyiche maintained that the All Progressive Congress stands a better chance in the forthcoming governorship election in the state. Recall that some members of the People's Democratic Party and Labour Party have defected recently to the ruling All Progressives Congress at Ndufu Alike Ward in Ikwa local government area of Ebonyi State. 14 died and 13 injured in auto crash. At least 14 persons died in a head-on collision involving two Toyota buses on Sunday in Kogi. According to reports, 13 persons survived the accident that occurred at Aloma community in Ofu local government area of the state. According to him, none of the 10 occupants of the Sienna bus died. He commended the villagers who quickly came to the scene of the accident and rescued the injured. The eyewitness blamed the accident on speeding and potholes on the road and added that it took rescuers 3 hours to move the driver of the Sienna bus, whose two legs were badly damaged. Contacted, the Kogi sector commander of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Samuel Oyedeji, confirmed the accident. Court of Appeal in Abuja on Monday did not sit to hear the appeal lodged by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission against the order of Kogi High Court, which restrained the anti-graft agency from arresting the immediate past governor, Yahaya Bello. Kogi Court, in a ruling on April 17, restrained the EFCC from arresting, detaining, and prosecuting Bello. The judge, I.A. Jamil, gave the order in a 2-hour judgment delivered in the Kogi State capital on Wednesday. The judgment coincided with the siege invasion of Bello's home in Abuja by EFCC operatives in a bid to arrest him. The FCC is seeking to arraign the former governor on 19 counts, bordering on alleged money laundering, breach of trust, and misappropriation of funds to the tune of 80.2 billion naira. Kogi Governorship Election Petition Tribunal sitting in Abuja on Monday ordered the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Olayemi Cardoso, to unfailingly appear before it on Tuesday. According to reports, the governor is to appear to give some explanations on the role of the Apex Bank in the November 11, 2023 off-cycle election in Kogi. The 3-member panel of justices, led by Justice Ado Benikudu, also threatened to wield the big stick on the CBN's Director of Corporate Service. The development compelled the CBN governor or any of its officers to attend the proceedings to give evidence concerning the allegation leveled by Governor Ododo that the petitioners filed the petition against him outside the 21 days allowed by law. Niger State Police Command has confirmed the death of 5 children who mistakenly locked themselves up in an abandoned vehicle in Gurara, Albisher, suburb of Mina, the state capital. The bodies of the children aged 5 to 13 were discovered in the abandoned car. It was gathered that the parents of the children were searching for them from 11 a.m. until they were found dead around 4 p.m. Police Public Relations Officer PPRO SP Wasiyu Abiodun confirmed the incident in Mina. He said the matter was reported at Pakungu Division. Abiodun said the owner of the vehicle has been invited for questioning as the unfortunate incident is under investigation. 2 suspected Boko Haram individuals identified as improvised explosive device experts, 19-year-old Abubakar Mohammed Elias Garba and 13-year-old Babagana Modu, have laid down their arms and surrendered to troops of the Sector 3 Multinational Joint Task Force, Monguno, in Borno State. The surrender took place on April 21, 2024, marking a notable success in the ongoing campaign to dismantle Boko Haram's operations in the region. This was disclosed on Monday in a press statement signed by the Chief Military Public Information of MNJTF in N'Djamena, Lieutenant Colonel Abubakar Abdullahi. Governor Agbo Kefas of Taraba State has tasked parents with enhancing reading culture among the younger generation. He stated this on Monday via a press statement signed by Special Advisor on Media and Digital Communication, Emmanuel Bello, while congratulating Asoga Wunuji, the winner of the just concluded readathon contest. Wunuji, an indigene of Taraba State, set a new Guinness World Record by reading aloud for 166 hours, beating the previous record of 124 hours and becoming the longest reader on the planet. Describing the feat as a testament to the strength of willpower, the governor, who had earlier met Wunuji at the government lodge, Wukari, said he knew the competitor would make it He urged the young people to always support each other as a victory for one belongs to all of them and emphasized the need for teamwork as Wonuji's friends did at the contest. Nigeria Center for Disease Control has confirmed 8 deaths and over 208 suspected new cases following an outbreak of a strange illness in Sokoto State. Manager of the center, Dr. Ibrahim Usman, revealed this at an interactive session with officials of the State Ministry of Health. He said the incident happened in Sabon, Benin, and Issa local government areas of the state. According to him, prompt measures were taken by the NCDC and the state government to control the spread of the yet-to-be-identified disease as samples were taken to the NCDC laboratories for analysis. State Deputy Governor Engineer Idris Mohammed Kobere had told the visiting Minister of Health, Professor Ali Pat, at a courtesy call that the strange disease had killed many in Issa. Yet, two identified gunmen have again invaded Wamba community in Nasarawa State, killing a police officer and abducting 2 persons. The attack, which occurred late Sunday night, was targeted at the residence of the Chubu, Mr. Monde Toma Chaga in Nakere Wamba local government area. ATN learns that the assailants, who remained at large, managed to steal the police officer's rifle before fleeing the scene. According to multiple sources, the kidnappers have since contacted the victim's family, demanding 20 million naira ransom for their safe return. This is not the first time Wamba community has been attacked. Efforts to reach the police for comment as of press time proved abortive. No official statement has been released at this time. Plateau State government said that the non-kinetic approach being employed by security operatives to bring the unrest in some communities of the state to an end has started to yield results, as some of the bandits have turned in their weapons. According to the government, 7 AK-47 guns have been handed over to operatives of Operation Rainbow by bandits operating in Wase local government area. This was disclosed by Gaki Shipi, the special advisor to the Plateau State Governor on security and coordinator of the state-owned Operation Rainbow. The governor's aide, who did not disclose the number of bandits that had so far surrendered, said, so far, 7 AK-47s have been returned, and if we take it that one belongs to one bandit, that means 7 of them have renounced banditry. All Progressives Congress Kano State chapter has urged the public to ignore the purported suspension of the national chairman of the party, Dr. Abdullahi Ganduje. The secretary of the party in the state, Zakari Sarina, told newsmen on Monday in Kano that the supposed suspension of Ganduje by any group of individuals was null and void. He said the suspension, which was announced on Sunday by a faction of the party, came from non-members of the party. According to him, they don't belong to the Progressive Party because a good party member will not work towards destroying a legitimate member who was governor for 8 years and rose to become a national chairman. Sarina alleged that the leader of the group who announced the purported Ganduje suspension was a member of the New Nigeria People's Party who contested but lost the councillorship election in Ganduje ward. He advised the media to be cautious of those who seek to use their platforms to promote falsehood. Kano State High Court, presided over by Justice Usman Malam Naba, that earlier on slammed an order suspending Dr. Umar Abdullahi Ganduje as national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, has reversed self-vacating same order. One Haladu Gwanjo and Lamino Sani Barguma will claim to be the chairman and secretary respectively of the APC Ganduje ward in Dawaki Topa local government area of the state, had secured an order Ganduje as the chairman of the party. However, in a twist of events, the presiding judge of the High Court, Justice Usman Naba, said, while vacating his earlier order, that upon reading a motion ex parte together with 27-paragraph affidavits in support and a written address dated the 22nd day of April 2024, to by one Glory Ada, a litigation secretary in the 4th Respondent Solicitor's law firm. The is for staying of the execution of the order of interim injunction contained in the ruling of the court delivered on the 17th April 2024, directing parties to maintain status quo ante as at the 15th day of April 2024 in relation to the suspension of the fourth respondent applicant from the first respondent by Ganduje Ward. Executive Committee pending hearing and determination of the fourth respondent applicant's motion on notice. The judge then adjourned to 30th day of April 2024 for hearing on the case. Kano State Command of the Nigerian Correctional Service has said that 70% of inmates are awaiting trial across the custodial centers in the state. Command's Public Relations Officer S.A. Musbahu Lawan made the disclosure while addressing newsmen at the state headquarters on Monday in Kano. According to him, overcrowding was a challenge to the smooth operation of the NCOs in the state, as the number of awaiting trial inmates had tripled that of convicted inmates in the state. He explained that convicted inmates were easier to manage as they were mandated to engage in the various reformatory programs, an opportunity which awaiting trial persons might not have. Magistrates Court in Kafachan, Kaduna State has ordered two men, John Simon and Yusuf Niki, to be remanded in a correctional facility after they pleaded guilty to stealing a motorcycle. The presiding judge, Michael Bauer, however, reserved sentence until May 2nd. The duo had been charged by the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps with criminal conspiracy and theft, contrary to sections 58 and 270 of the Kaduna State Penal Code law. Earlier, the prosecutor, Marcus Audu, informed the court that the complainant, Tanko Umaru, reported the matter at the court's office in Kafachan on April 13. He noted that during the course of investigation, the defendants were arrested and found in possession of the motorcycle. President Bola Tinubu has opened the African Counter-Terrorism Summit at the Office of the National Security Advisor in Abuja. Special Advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Ajuri Ngilale, in a statement informed a high-level summit organized by Nigeria in collaboration with the United Nations Office of Counter-Terrorism will take place from April 22nd to 2023. The objective of the summit is to enhance multilateral counter-terrorism cooperation and reshape the international community's collective response to terrorism in Africa, emphasizing African-led and African-owned solutions. Special guests present at the Security Summit include Vladimir Voronkov, Under-Secretary General, United Nations of Counter-Terrorism, Amina Mohammed, Deputy Secretary General, United Nations, and Patrice Talon, President of the Republic of Benin, among others. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has reiterated the call for the establishment of a regional standby force that will serve as a rapid deployment tool to combat both existing threats and the ones that could emerge. It will also serve as a strong deterrent to large-scale weapons smuggling. The president gave the call at the opening ceremony of the African Counter-Terrorism Summit in Abuja on Monday. According to him, terrorism must be banished as the menace threatens farmers from their farms, children from their schools, and businesswomen from their sources of livelihood, thereby putting society and government into confusion and disarray. He added that the fight against terrorism required a collective approach and that the root causes must be addressed. Speaking earlier, the National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu said Nigeria had resumed the prosecution of all Boko Haram detainees in Kanji. Former leaders and major stakeholders have thrown their weights behind the creation of state police. They all agree that a well-funded and well-equipped state police can guarantee peace in the country. They made this known at a one-day national dialogue on state policing organized by the 10th House of Assembly in Abuja. The stakeholders suggested that areas of concerns raised by Nigerians must be addressed through thorough amendment of the Police Act for effectiveness and efficiency. The presidency and past president, Goodluck Jonathan, as well as former head of state, Abdusalam Abubakar, said the call for state policing is long overdue. They offered some solutions on ways the country can operate state policing by applying the nation's peculiar situation, such as adapting the border force.
Is aware. I think as much as we are talking of establishing state police, we should also look into the role vis-a-vis of our royal fathers.
If you make the states to have weapons that are inferior to the ones that the criminals are using, then you're asking their police to commit suicide in the field. You cannot give your police a weapon that will kill at maybe 50 meters range. Then the criminal has a weapon that will kill 100-meter range. Then you are not doing anything. So we must not even go there in terms of limiting the capacity of the state police. A state that has enough resources must equip the police very well. And that state can also assist other states.
Earlier, conveners of the National Dialogue and Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Abbas Tajuddin, and his deputy, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, explained why the discuss have become very necessary.
I task you to debate freely on the pros and the cons of state policing. As we engage, issues to consider may include, but not limited to, the following: the desirability or otherwise of state policing, the time frame for a transition if deemed desirable, suitable model or models for Nigeria that account for context and diversity, appropriate legal and institutional frameworks, essential safeguards against abuse.
We must draw the line because to have functional police, state police, we must have a strong federal police. But let us never forget the power of state police should never be used as a tool of oppression.
You have taken the lead in putting this forward for the country to discuss. Certainly we do expect and hope that the review of the Constitution that will happen will produce some significant difference in the way that the country is policed. And I think at that stage we'll all agree that National Assembly would have done justice to this.
On the issue of state police, it is the submission of the leadership of the Nigerian police force that Nigeria is yet to mature and ready for the establishment of state-controlled police. This is due to the underlying reasons. One, there is no adequate resources in place for police infrastructure, such as police colleges, training schools, barracks, police stations, clinics, vehicles, communication equipments for the state governments.
To achieve this, we must analyze the current legal and constitutional framework governing policing in Nigeria, discuss necessary amendments for the establishment of state police forces, and ensure checks and balances are in place to prevent any abuse of.
However, the Nigeria Police in its submissions thinks otherwise. It believes that by adequately funding the police as well as the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, NSCDC, and Federal Road Safety Corps will address the challenges faced by the policing in ensuring suffocated policing for the country.
Otu should tell us that he wants to be the one who wants to go.
The theme of the National Dialogue is Pathways to Peace, Reimagining Policing in Nigeria. Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun has advised the federal government to merge the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps and the Federal Road Safety Corps with the police for effectiveness. Egbetokun said this at the National Dialogue on State Policing organized by the House of Representatives on Monday in Abuja with the theme Pathways to Peace, Reimagining Policing in Nigeria. The IG, represented by the Assistant Inspector General of Police, Ben Okoro, said that the NSCDC and the FRC were a duplication of the police. Egbetokun Egbetokun also said that Nigeria was not ripe enough for state police, urging those calling for state police to work toward merging the NCDSC and the FRC with the police for effectiveness. He said the police were battling with inadequate training as well as lack of adequate manpower. Nigerian Army on Monday said it has dismissed 2 soldiers, Corporal Innocent Joseph and Lance Corporal Jacob Gani, accused of stealing armored cables at the Dangote refinery on April 14, 2024. The soldiers entered the facility in an Acura jeep, but were caught at the company's main gate with 897 armored cables that have been cut to size. Confirming that dismissal in a statement on Monday, the spokesperson for the Nigerian Army, Major General Oyema Nwachukwu, noted that the 2 soldiers were found to have abandoned their duty post and to be in unauthorized possession of the 897 armored cable materials and had since been handed over to relevant authorities for further prosecution. He noted that a preliminary investigation conducted into the incident revealed that Smart informed the soldiers that he needed to retrieve some cables that had been left behind at the facility. Oyema added that when they got there, Smart sensed trouble, then excused himself and left the scene. Analysts has identified that funding is a major criteria and the most recovered political yardstick for winning elections. Speaking on Atlantic Open Conversation, a public affairs analyst, Emmanuel Iruayenama, maintained that the current Nigeria's political structure is fixed on the candidate or political party with the most funding ability. Also reacting to this, a political analyst
in Edo and perhaps in Ondo, there is nothing those chairmen can do in these states. They are not from that state.
Okay.
Before elections, yes, you can raise. I want to tell you that the people I see there can do funding. If they can do funding, they can gather the funds and then send to them. But apart from that, there's nothing they can do. The Nigerian political system is structured in such a way that there's only people in government that can raise funds. And it's very funny. We keep shouting that the best way to run a party is that party members are able to, on their own, fund themselves. In all the states, you can't find a governor for any party. That party is as good as dead in that state.
Also reacting to this, a political analyst, Asim Adams, clarified on the move of the South-South APC chairman to gather support as it may.
Is apt. It might not be that they came together to converge for the purpose of raising funds, but for the purpose of camaraderie, they come together. For the purpose of choosing oneness and support, unflinching support. Because what I found out in those days in politics, you see, they tell you, we need your support, we need your support.
All Progressives Congress from various states in the South-South geopolitical zone of Nigeria rose from their meeting in Calabar, resolving to join forces to ensure electoral victories for their governorship candidates in Edo and Ondo State. FCT Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has intercepted 10 victims of human trafficking at Zuba Motor Park in Abuja. A statement on Monday in Abuja by Samuel Idoku, the NSCDC FCT Command spokesperson, said the rescued victims, aged between 24 and 34, comprised of 1 male and 9 female, who all claimed to be indigents of Ondo State. He said that on interrogation, it was discovered that the victims were being sponsored for illegal migration abroad. Idoko, the victims had been handed over to the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Person by the NSCDC Commandant Olushola Odumosun. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has declared a Ugandan, Dennis Aliga, wanted for allegedly obtaining money by false pretenses, money laundering, and diversion of public funds. The anti-graft agency made this known in a post shared on its official X handle on Monday by its spokesperson, Dele Oyewale. The Commission therefore urged that anybody with useful information as to his whereabouts should please contact the Commission in its Benin, Kaduna, Ibadan, Sokoto, Gombe, Maiduguri, Makurdi, Ilorin, Enugu, Kano, Lagos, Port Harcourt, and Abuja offices. Federal government on Monday launched guidelines on safe motherhood, targeting at least 7 million party noted that it is possible to achieve safe motherhood in the country. The National Safe Motherhood Day is an annual event marked on April 11 to create awareness and generate public dialogue on the best strategies and interventions that promote maternal and newborn health and survival within an integrated continuum of care. Safe motherhood is to improve the life expectancy and quality of life of Nigerian women through the provision of quality maternal and newborn services, while ensuring safety through properly supervised pregnancy, skilled attendance at birth, and post-delivery care at all levels of the healthcare delivery system, thereby reducing maternal mortality and morbidity. On her part, the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, Daju Kacholom, noted that with the launch of the document, postpartum hemorrhage, preeclampsia, eclampsia, and unsafe abortion affecting maternal health in Nigeria will be addressed. Eberechi Suzette Wike, wife of FCT Minister Nyesom Wike, has been promoted from the Rivers High Court to the Court of Appeal. Of the 89 judges nominated for the promotion following the retirement of some senior jurists, only 22 judges were selected to fill available positions. Chief Justice of Nigeria, Kayode Ariwola, approved Wike's name and 21 others on the priority list sent to President Tinubu for appointment. Justices Polycarp Tema Kwaha, Benue, Rukayat Ayola, Kogi, Eneche Eleojo, Kogi, Asmara Akombi Yusuf Kwara, Abdullahi Mohammed Lima Nasarawa, and Abdul Dogo FCT were appointed North Central. Only Justice Fadahu Umaru, a Borno State indigent, was appointed from the Northeast. For the Northwest, approved justices are Ishaq Mohammed Sadi Kaduna, Zainab Bagi Abubakar Kebi, and Abdulaziz M. Ankara Zamfara. Newly recommended judges from the Southeast included Nnamdi Okwudemga Victoria Abia, Tochukwu Nwoye Anambra, Henry Ajaonu Njoku Ebonyi, Donatus Uwaizueke Okorowo Enugu, and Ngozika N. Okaisabo Imo. For the South-South region, Justices Ntong Festus Ntong Akwa Ibom, Nehizena Idemudia Afulabi Edo, and Mrs. Nyesom Wike Prevas were recommended for promotion. Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention says it recorded 5,669 suspected Lassa fever cases and 152 deaths with a case fatality rate of 18.3%. Lassa, the NCDC said 832 cases were recorded. The NCDC said 882 cases were confirmed from the suspected cases from 27 states across 126 local government areas from January to April 14, 2024. According to the World Health Organization, Lassa fever is an acute viral hemorrhagic illness caused by the Lassa virus, a member of the arenavirus. Now, business news. Dangote Refinery will start supplying petrol in the fourth quarter of 2024. Kelly Norwis, an African energy expert at the S&P, disclosed this in a podcast titled Exploring West Africa's Oil Product Flows in a Changing Refining Landscape. She said the Dangote Refinery will significantly reduce energy imports across the West African sub-region, putting the figure for petrol as much as 290,000 barrels daily from 2024 to 2026. The The refinery was officially commissioned in May 2023, but has been unable to operate at full capacity. However, it began receiving crude oil around December and finally started distributing diesel to marketers in local markets in March. Last week, the refinery announced a reduction in diesel price to 1,000 naira per liter from 1,600 naira per liter. Nigeria targets up to $30 billion from its inaugural foreign currency denominated bond issuance plan for June 2024. Patience Oniha, Director General of the Debt Management Office, disclosed this recently in an interview with Business Day. Accordingly, the government authority said the sovereign domestic foreign currency issuance aligns with moves to attract more forex inflows to stabilize the naira, which had suffered immensely from dollar shortages. The development comes as the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for the Economy, Wale Edun, recently announced that a debut forex bond is planned for the second quarter of 2024 and will be a short to medium-term instrument. Nigeria in fostering sustainable economic practices. Notably, the IMF and World Bank commended Nigeria's robust efforts, citing the tightening of monetary policies, subsequent upward revision of country's growth forecast. Wale Edo, Nigeria's Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for the Economy, who also chairs the African Caucus, emphasized the nation's pivotal role in advocating for Africa's economic interests on the global stage. Of particular significance was Nigeria's Now to international tidbits. Kenya Police Service has arrested fleeing Binance executive Nadeem Anjarwalla, who escaped from custody in Nigeria. There are indications that the International Police Organization plans to extradite him to Nigeria this week. A reliable source in the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, who preferred anonymity, disclosed this to newsmen on Monday. Anjarwalla, who escaped a lawful custody in Nigeria, was found in Kenya. EFCC Chairman Ola Olukoyede had in a statement in March said that the Commission is collaborating with Interpol, the US, UK, Northern Ireland and Kenyan authorities to extradite Anjarwalla. South African court on Monday allowed a new party backed by former President Jacob Zuma to use its name and logo in May's general election, dismissing the ruling ANC's allegation of trademark theft. Durban High Court ruled in favor of the MK party in the latest of a string of court battles between Zuma and his former political party, the ruling African National Congress. The ANC tried to stop the 82-year-old's new party from using the MK name, alleging intellectual property theft. The name of the opposition MK is identical to that of the armed wing of the ANC, which Nelson Mandela led from exile during the apartheid era. Zuma was first out of office in 2018 under a cloud of corruption allegations, is campaigning for MK in a bid to relaunch his political career and weaken his former party, the ANC. South Africa goes to the polls on May 29 in what is expected to be the most competitive vote since the advent of democracy in 1994. Suspected jihadists in central Mali are holding more than 110 civilians they abducted 6 days ago. 3 buses carrying the civilians were stopped on April 16 by jihadists who forced the vehicles and the passengers to head towards a forest between Bandiagara and Bankas, a local group of associations and an elected official said. An elected official from Bandiagara, who noted to remain anonymous for security reasons, said the 3 buses and the passengers, more than 120, are still being held by jihadists. Bandiagara associations had on Friday published a statement condemning the persistence of terrorist attacks, the growing numbers of displaced people in towns, and the lack of action by the armed forces. Israeli Defense Forces on Monday said an Israeli drone was shot down over Lebanon on Sunday night. Writing on Telegram, the IDF said a surface-to-air missile was launched at the drone that was operating in Lebanese airspace, adding that the drone was hit and had landed in Lebanon. It added that fighter jets struck the missile launch site. Fighting broke out with Lebanon on Sunday, with Israeli army announcing that 2 shells had been fired in the direction of the village of Rosh Hanikra in northern Israel on the Mediterranean Sea. The failures leading to the Hamas attack on October 7, as Israel carried out more shelling in war-battered Gaza overnight. General Aharon Haliva is the first top Israeli official to step down for failing to prevent the Hamas attack, which triggered the war in Gaza and brought the government and military under intense scrutiny in Israel. Israel has meanwhile lashed out at reports that its top ally, the United States, was considering sanctioning the military's ultra-Orthodox Netzah Yehuda battalion over alleged human rights abuses in the West Bank from before the war. Netanyahu said late Sunday that the Israeli military would increase military pressure to deliver additional and painful blows to Hamas in the coming days without elaborating further. The Prime Minister has repeatedly said Israel will launch a ground assault on Gaza's southernmost city of Rafah, despite international concern about the majority of the territory's population who have taken refuge there. China Earthquake Network Center has confirmed that a 5.7 magnitude earthquake jolted Hualien County of China's Taiwan on Monday. The epicenter was monitored at 23.76 degrees north latitude and 121.15 degrees longitude. The epicenter was monitored at 23.74 degrees north latitude and 121.59 degrees east longitude, according to the CENC. Former United States President Donald Trump has pleaded not guilty to all as he becomes the first current or former president in the nation's history to go on trial. Trump's hush money trial is currently underway, with his lawyers saying that he did not commit any crimes. New York prosecutor Matthew Coangelo and Trump's lawyer Todd Blanchard made their opening statements in what may be the only one of Trump's 4 criminal prosecutions to go to trial before his November 5th election rematch with President Joe Biden. However, Trump's lawyer Blanchard spoke shortly after prosecutors told jurors that the former president broke the law by deceiving voters. According to him, there's nothing wrong with trying to influence an election. And now entertainment news. Convicted cross-dresser Okuneye Idris Olarewaju, better known as Bobrisky, has filed a notice of appeal against his conviction for naira abuse by a federal high court in Lagos. Bobrisky was on Friday, April 12, sentenced to 6 months imprisonment over naira abuse with no option of fine for abusing the naira. The convicted cross-dresser in his appeal urged the appellate court to set aside the 6 months imprisonment sentence imposed on him. In the appeal filed by his lawyer Deji Adeyawu, Bobrisky argues that the trial judge erred in law and facts by his imposition of the maximum sentence of months imprisonment terms against the appellant without option of fine, contrary to the provisions of Section 416, subsection 2 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act of 2015 that prescribe the mandatory guidelines on the trial courts on imposition of sentencing after criminal conviction of a first-time offender as the appellant. The appeal, therefore, is seeking an order setting aside the 6 months maximum imprisonment sentence imposed on the appellant and its place, and imposition of a fine in the sum of 50,000 naira on each of the counts against the appellant. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission had on Thursday, April 4th, filed 6 counts of money laundering and abuse of naira against him. Former winner of France's version of The Voice is in hospital on Monday after being shot in the chest. Singer Kendiji Girac was found wounded after police were called to a traveler's site in Biscarrosse on France's southwestern coast. Girac was admitted to hospital in Bordeaux, but injuries were not life-threatening. The 27-year-old told first responders there will be a pause in the season after match day 34 to allow Rivers United to play their outstanding matches. Rivers United have a backlog of outstanding matches to be played following their involvement in the CAF Confederation Cup. Stanley Egoma's side were eliminated from the competition 2 weeks ago after a 2-1 aggregate defeat to defending champions Osma of Algeria. The rearrangement was also necessitated by the involvement of some MPFL clubs in the Federation Cup. Match days 35 to 38 will be rearranged at later dates. After Barcelona confirmed on Monday the midfielder suffered an ankle sprain in the Clásico in La Liga at the weekend. The Dutch international is, however, expected to be fit for Euro 2024 in the summer, with Spanish media reporting he will be sidelined for around 5 weeks. The German was taken off on a stretcher just before halftime in Real Madrid's 3-2 win over the Spanish champions at the Santiago Bernabeu, hurt after a challenge by Fede Valverde. It is the third time the young 26 has sustained an ankle injury this season, and he only recently made his return from the previous problem on April 10. The Netherlands begins on June 14. Barcelona president Joan Laporta said Monday the club will demand a Clásico replay if they can prove officials made a mistake by not allowing Lamine Yamal's ghost goal. The champions fell to a 3-2 defeat against Real Madrid at Santiago Bernabeu on Sunday in a match which featured multiple controversial incidents, leaving their arch-rivals 11 points clear at the top of La Liga. The most debated was 16-year-old winger Yamal's first half flick from a corner, which may have crossed the line before Madrid. Goalkeeper Andre Lunin pushed it away.